Oh, yeah, it's working.
Perfect. What I'm going for.
Gotta get,
They're coming back.
oh, okay. They're alive. They're alive.
Okay, so I think that what should I do here?
Okay.
Bring the computer with you in the
And
sensory office.
I think you're right.
Go to the meeting and then step out.
I'm just gonna tell her to send me that.
sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. Brought to you by Hampton.
Yeah, I just got kicked out. I had to re-sign back in.
That was Campton.
Oopsie doopsies.
Well, you got thrown underneath the bus really fast there, right? Yeah, real fast.
Mexican internet, but
Yeah,
But we're gonna go with Campton.
wasn't even any attempt to even massage
Girls
that.
leaving us. She will be blamed for everything.
From here on out.
And usually about 2 months after you're gone, you still get blamed for stuff. I notice.
Oh, that's when you get blamed.
As most of the stuff is after you're gone.
It's quite traditional,
Yeah.
government.
We won't let that.
Okay. So for our water expenses, one thing that we haven't asked, from a budget perspective or just a financial perspective is brought in the vehicle costs for those actually designated for our utilities department. So that's about $23,000 annually in operating costs being brought in. Treatment plant, not much, not really much change at all, just a little bit of insurance. Reservoirs, allocating proper insurance there. And then also just increasing in contracted services and materials. We're seeing increases there. And then wages, last year was budgeted to bring in an additional utility person. So half of that impact is being shown this year. So, and then in the past couple of years, we've been outside of our policy when it comes to transfers to reserve. So bringing us up to policy, putting 275,000 in there. Total increase in utility fees of it's right now coming up to 18%. This isn't like everyone's utilities are going up 18%. We do have new users coming online. So we are currently doing the analysis of what that looks like. So that'll be coming to the next finance committee meeting on rate setting. But overall, needing to bring it up our utility rates in order to properly put to reserves.
Great. Okay. Any questions? Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, that's quite a bit, right? But I guess we can have that conversation once we know the exact kind of number based on where that would be. I'd be a little concerned to do that all in 1 year.
Yep.
I don't know if it would be better to get us to within policy over the span of a couple or 3 years. Especially when it came to water. If I was gonna pick anything to take a hit on or go to the taxpayers on, it would be more, and we haven't got to that, but just because what we know on the sewage side, then that's probably where I want to take the hit. Now, I guess if we did it on both, that's tough for people to absorb, right? So I'm very cognizant of the fact that people are a little tight these days.
Bianca, do you roughly know how many users we're adding on to the system?
New users. So we're gonna be adding on 55 units for the 425, 36 units.
36
Years.
seniors.
Then Temple, 222 Temple. So a few major ones. Seed frontage. So if we're looking at maybe a phased for water, that is something that we can consider ensuring that those new ones coming in line are helping, offset that increase. And we can look at that with our rate setting. So we can bring some options.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Councillor Bushel?
Just on the seniors, are we taking away the havens and adding the new senior center? Or you keep calculating both places?
No, you lose the haven.
You notice?
Yeah, because you're moving people out of the Haven. Good point. That's this
We'll be removing, how many units is that one again?
18.
18?
What?
At the Haven.
Well, go
Go ahead, Malcolm.
I think,
28 units in the Haven.
yeah, I would
28.
say it's more like 2020, so. No.
Okay, thank you.
At
So 28, exchanging for 36, so, yeah.
We still have some numbers to crunch
Yep,
on the.
yeah, for sure, yeah. We do have stuff coming online, so that's good. That's the
Yeah.
good thing about growth in the community.
Yes. That is water. Sewer is a more to swallow too. So the last several years, we've been outside of policy for what we've been putting to
Reserve.
sewer reserves. So the last 2 years, we haven't put anything to reserves. We've actually pulled from reserves as we figure out our treatment plant. So I'm just gonna go down to the expense side right now. So administrative, not much of a change there. Treatment plant. One of the largest ones is our contracted services and materials. We've been seeing increasing. So previously, to the last couple of years, we were outside of our permitted levels of phosphorus and some other key elements on our permits for our wastewater treatment plant. So we've had to change chemicals at our treatment plant, and now we're within permits, which is fantastic. It allows us to do a lot more things with our treatment plant. However, that comes at a cost. So right now, chemicals alone at the treatment plant are running at around $20,000 a month. So to the tune of $240,000 annually is what we're budgeting for chemicals alone. So that makes up one of the largest differences here is that. And then on top of that, with that better chemical, we are finding that lagoon cleanouts are now happening annually. Whereas we didn't have a lagoon cleanout for, I don't know, Darryl, when was the last one we have ever done?
For the chemical, we'd probably get 6 or 8 years between cleanings. And with the chemical, it's an annual thing because everything settles out so that you're building sludge really quickly.
So the treatment plant is where we're seeing the largest increase in operating costs. We have we've reallocated some insurance to within, but this one is nice little, all the little departments within sewer, a little summary of overall costs. So contracted services, little change in electricity, major maintenance works, a little increase with wages and benefits. So overall on our sewage treatment plant, we're looking to expand revenues by almost 30%, which in the last couple of years, looking at other communities, Salmon Arm did, I think, a 30% increase in their water and sewer recently. Other communities are seeing huge increases in their water and sewer rates. So when we bring rates forward, we will show comparisons to other communities to kind of show where we're landing with water and sewer. Yeah, any questions there?
Questions? Ian, go ahead. Come on.
Don't know if I really have a question. I think,
Man,
yeah, I think we're gonna have to figure out a way to get to policy. I mean, the sewer is a problem. And we do need to have serious conversations about that, not just with a lens to this year, but why we actually have to start putting away possibly even more. And we really haven't had that conversation. I think it hasn't really percolated out. We're thinking a lot about it, but I don't know if the community is thinking about it in terms of the impact to them, because it will be an impact because we're gonna have to pay for it, right? So this 30% is potentially only the beginning of it in terms of where we're gonna have to be. But that being said, it's an awful lot for 1 year, right? And that's what I'm concerned about, right? With sewage and water going up double digits, plus our property tax going up, plus whatever else is gonna come down to us from, school board. There's only one taxpayer, right? And how much can that bear in 1 year when we already know people are pretty tight? Like, that's what I hear. I hear that from people. So I'm just obviously concerned about that. I guess we can have a better conversation once we know all the numbers and everything, right? We're just going through this on a preliminary thing. But I mean, I guess this is kind of where it's at. And I don't have a great solution to it, but I don't know if it's a phased approach or what we're gonna have to do, whether we're gonna have to find other money in our operating budget to offset some of this, to put it into sewer, make some tough choices in our other budget lines, so we can get those reserves up. It should definitely be something we're considering, rather than just trying to get it all from taxpayers. But yeah, it's just a bigger, larger conversation. Seeing those numbers is quite sobering.
If we had maybe a number to attach to it, like per resident, that might be helpful.
Here. Oh, yeah, and so maybe I just finish off, like, so that's 30% 1 year. It would be nice to know where we're gonna have to be in year 2, 3 as well, like project out, like this is not, to my knowledge, this is not just a 1 year increase. This is, how much do we want to actually put into the reserves every year? Sorry, let me just look.
You lose Siobhan.
Is it, sorry,
Oh, okay.
do you know the number?
I didn't see.
I'm looking for it, but what do we want to put into reserves every year?
Policy is 20 to 30% of revenue.
And so transfers to reserve this year would only be 250.
For 2026 would be 250. And so when it comes to larger projects like the expansion of the sewer treatment plant to add extra RIBs, that would be long-term debt at this point.
Which has an impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor Bushel.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. I agree with Ian. It's, you've noted in the community, you even see the developers pull back already. They're changing want to change their city plans and their designs and all kinds of things. So it is concerning. So it's something we have to, like I say, wait till we get the final numbers in, and then we'll look at it again. Cause yeah, it is, it's tough. And you see we got a letter on the agenda from all the businesses, right? Feeling the pinch. But anyways, that's something we can talk about later, but yeah.
Most of the time we kind of just move past this in years past, right? But what are our options of moving money from one area of operating into this area?
One of the annual grant mechanisms that we get from the federal and provincial government, our Community Works Fund. That's about $200,000 a year if council wanted to earmark that going forward. Some of that right now is getting allocated to roads. So if we wanted to move some of that, we can look at that and kind of designate that for the next 5 years. And then we can look at all of our reserve balances if you'd like that can be at our next meeting.
Mhm.
We can have a thorough talk, because there's also some reserve balances that we could consider cutting altogether,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful for council to take a look at what we got. What are some of the options? Because if we're looking year 2, 3, also kind of, how much do we think we need? Well, to do future works on this, like it'd be nice to have a bit of an idea on year 27, 28. If we know we're going to be spending some money on this wastewater treatment plant, like we know that. So what does that look like? And, it might be that we have to move some from one area still into this to achieve even a 30% increase, right? And to be realistic in what we're going to need in 2 years, 3 years. So I don't know, it's not a pleasant conversation. Nobody wants to have it, but we might as well try to get a good sense of what we're dealing with fully, I think.
Councillor Beach.
Oh, yeah, through the chair. I'm just trying to remember, do we have, would the sewer treatment would fall under environmental grant? Would qualify for an environmental grant if we could find one? Would it not?
Yeah, and I think the one thing like we're uncertain of right now, there's a lot of federal grant money that is gonna be coming out that that I think we have a lot of potential on. Hopefully, because like if we go to my capital budget right now, current projections for rib expansion, and this is like super class, I don't know, DE, if that's an option, is about $2 million right now with a rib expansion and rehab, right? But then we also have items like Boutwell lift station, that's
Which we need to do.
estimated at 650. We still have our lift station upgrades, annual pump replacements, just general sani repairs as we see, new developments come in. That's usually when things get brought to light that just need some tweaking. So,
3 million.
yeah. So
Councillor Bailey.
And how much do we currently have in our sewer capital fund? Sorry, I don't know if it was there.
no, sewer. Right now, sorry, you get to see my internal spreadsheets. That I haven't made look pretty yet.
Oh,
So sewer right now projected at the end of this year is only $400,000.
Find another 0.6. Go ahead, Sia.
Bianca, what do we have in the DCC program?
So with the DCCs now online, we have $56,000 in there since it came online. So a lot of our big projects that went through before that new DCC program. They fell under the old, so they didn't, but 56 since online. Not terrible, it's climbing. Something.
Councillor Bailey, go ahead.
okay, so I guess just working this back, if we're saying 3 million, we got 460 in there. We're putting 250 in this year. Yeah, we have if we project this out, we're gonna need to find other money to put into this fund
We may have an opportunity for federal money as well.
or a grant, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and right now I've earmarked Boutwell getting covered through Community Works Fund.
Okay.
So that's what's floating Boutwell right now is
600.
is our internal grant, which could get spent anywhere with roads and all those. Right now, I'm allocating that one directly to sewer. So this is the big boy right here. And whatever comes out with all this registration, right?
Yeah.
With the permitting process. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, refresh my memory. When will the federal money be available? Like, is there a rate in the first quarter or
We don't have that crystal ball yet,
no?
but it should be.
No rumbling.
Politically most
nothing's looking pretty there.
Usually it's after January and February is normally when they release new programs. It is important to point out your reserves are a portion of what's reviewed when you make a grant application. So if you make a grant application, you're asking for 100%, you haven't created a DCC program or you're not developing reserves, that is considered negative on your application. So we want to try and continue to build reserves where we can, continue to build the DCC program. Thankfully, we have that now. If we didn't, it would actually be a big negative reflection on our grant opportunities. So there may be an odd conversation we need to have around what those rates are for DCCs and the amount we're collecting in order to supplement the future of our wastewater treatment plant. We can have that whole discussion as well. Not today. Sorry for that.
Oh, I know, it still hasn't settled. The pain's still not going. Okay, Councilor.
So, okay, just so I guess clear, you're gonna take this away, take a look at where we have other funds, potential to kind of mitigate this. And then is there could you give us a sense what and maybe you already know this, Dan, what the actual financial impact would be on an average homeowner? Like obviously businesses and everything will have a much larger kind of impact depending on their volume. I'm kind of thinking through this on like multiple levels. This is not just for homeowners. It will be for heavy sewage users, for businesses. It'll be a significant increase as well.
So we've pulled a lot of the usage data and we just did final readings for this last. We just did the meter reads, so I'll have a more fulsome data, if you will, on that, and then I can provide that at the next meeting and also highlight because there is some rates that we feel need to get moved around a bit.
Right.
Like the stratified per unit charge and like things like that, which we would recommend switching a little bit and looking at our fixed rate versus consumption rate. So we can bring back a few options, because what I am foreseeing right now, based on the data that we have, is we need to move around our rate structure a bit. Right now, with how building code is going on, like things are changing. So whereas right now we're basing everything on meter size, more and more people are being forced to build with a one inch meter. Right. Well, they're building the same single family house. Should they pay this like a higher fixed rate because of that? I don't think so. So we're working that out. So do you want me to do it like average residential, some business?
To give a council a sense, I think
That's a good idea.
This is good, because I've already planned on bringing this. So anything you guys want to see specifically, so I can get ahead of it. Yeah.
So
That's a good idea. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
well, this is not very great news.
So yeah, I'll do like average residential, business, multifamily, because we do have a few different kinds of scenarios going on. We also now have some more campground kind of stuff connected, which we haven't really
Don't even
much. So, okay.
don't even start with me. Go ahead.
Well, but that's a good point. I mean, if we kind of had this conversation already today about things that maybe we're leaving off the table or that are not being calculated as appropriately as they should be, right? We're looking for revenue here for sure.
Absolutely.
And multiple years of it. So if there's things that are not being charged for right now in the sewage department, I think we should be looking for every single dime that we can, and that includes campgrounds. And if there's gaps in it, we should identify that now or have it come for council for consideration. Because this is not just a 1 year issue.
Absolutely.
I mean, it'll be the next council will have to deal with this as well.
Exactly. And I agree with you. If you are hooked up to water and sewer in the district of Sycamoose, you need to pay to play or flush.
Yeah. And there's also like things to consider, like which will be in Finance's recommendations for like additional fixed fees for like suites, additional dwelling units, all those things. Most communities have an additional fixed charge for a suite. Usually it's half the fixed charge of a single family home. You get charged for your additional dwelling unit. So we'll bring all those recommendations forward. Okay. Okay, perfect. And that's literally pretty much a meeting in itself.
Yeah. Oh, I think it should be.
Like yeah. Okay. So I kind of already went over the sewer capital that's kind of getting projected. Water a little, or if you will, Capel Riverside, the final phase, membrane replacements, which is a carry forward from this year, at the water treatment plant, Shuswap to Paradise, water upgrade, booster station power upgrades for CP Reservoir, bulk water station at Hillier, and this is a potential revenue booster. We always have requests for bulk water, so setting that up so we can properly charge for it. Green Road upsizing for 2028, and then Pine to Sherlock main upsizing would happen 2029, 2030. If there's any questions from that?
So, I'm just thinking this, or any of those items that can be pushed off into other years to help mitigate kind of the increased.
I would defer to Daryl on that one.
You're talking about.
Yeah.
Some water money for.
Well, free up, yeah, anything. But yeah, I just this, but it all seems pretty needed this year.
I think
Just be kicking the.
these items too, the longer we push them, we're just,
Some of them have been bumped for a few years already, yeah. The looping, I know for Pine to Sherlock, we've looked to complete that looping. We started that quite a while ago.
Okay.
okay. That happy note. Good to move on from water and sewer more.
Let's keep moving.
Okay, so the next item that I wanted to bring back up, because now we've gotten another request, is our community supports. This is our supports for nonprofit organizations in the community. So last council meeting or finance meeting, we had a presentation from Eagle Valley Rescue Society, and they were looking for around $30,000 annually of ongoing funding to support rescue services. So I've touched base with Kelly Heselton to kind of talk that through. And from that, I would suggest, so one thing about rescue, in a lot of situations, this service is actually a municipal service. So Revelstoke, Golden, Armstrong, Enderby, they all have that in-house, whereas we have a society in place. So this one, because they also do Area E, taking that request and splitting it 50-50 is what's currently being proposed. So it'd be about $15,000. And then we could enter into a contribution agreement with them for annual funding going forward. So that's the current request we've already talked about. However, we do have some other requests. So we have a $10,000 request right now, Eagle Valley Transportation Society, $5,000 request from the Senior Center Society, a $5,000 request from Shuswap Watershed Council. We had a $7,500 request from Sycamoose Ferry Society. Council or staff has had discussions with them, and they are actually going more the EOF route at this point, which makes a bit more sense there. But really, what I'm looking for is just some direction, because I do not see requests stopping. So I've reached out to a couple other communities. Some communities take it on a case by case during budget time. Some communities have capped it. So they put a cap out and will entertain as long as they can stay within their annual caps. Other communities completely defer to their community grants program, their grant and aid program, which is capped. Just looking for some direction, like right now with the request in front of me, this is kind of how I could see it laid out. If council were to choose, it'd be about $24,000 impact to fulfill all these requests. Hoping that Area E covers off 50% of a few requests that really fall into their area. Yeah, any kind of direction. So and of these requests, pretty much all of them are wanting ongoing operational funding. So if we were to do that, the best way to solidify ongoing operational funding is to enter into a 3-year contribution agreement.
As we did with the
Art Society.
Okay. Counselor Evans.
Yeah, I know it's tough, but when I look at the over half our population is vulnerable and seniors, and we want to help them. And we're giving $5,000 to the Arts Council on a regular. When we need like this EVT thing is so important. We get so many seniors that can't get themselves to appointments. It gets used. I do it all the time. Other drivers drive them all the time. And I look at the senior center, and like, to me, these are not luxury items. They're and the Arts Council is definitely no more important than our seniors. And so I would like to see us enter into a 3-year agreement so that next year EVT doesn't have to come back and ask for money for something that I think is so vital to help our seniors in this town. And the senior center, we know, is indispensable. I mean, it literally feeds some seniors on a weekly. And so these are my thoughts about how, like, I love communities in bloom where they're getting 10 grand, right? Well, it's cool, but it's definitely no more important than their seniors. So I think we just got to bite the bullet and do this to support these folks that, very soon I will be one.
I will be driving you.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Yeah.
Okay, I hold the ace here. Okay,
Counselor Bailey.
the oldest.
No, I don't quite see it as simple as that. I mean, I think we've had this conversation many times that there is no bad, group that's operating on a nonprofit basis here in Sycamoose that doesn't need money. The challenge here is, and I want to support seniors too, but they're also ratepayers, and this is going to impact them as well, right? We just got done looking at sewer and water, and we're talking about ongoing support. These are all worthy groups, but where are you going to draw the line? Why them and not others? Right. And so this is I think the crutch of this issue that is more complicated than what it seems. I don't feel this is as simple as saying, oh yeah, we love all that, let's do it. How are we going to deal with the next requests for good and worthy causes? Because there will be more. There's no doubt about it. And we have a finite kind of capacity here. And we already know we're going into a period with some challenges around water and sewer and capital funds and other demands that we have to deal with, right? Those are not luxuries, right? And they're not discretionary. Water and sewer, we're going to have to deal with it. So I don't quite know what we should do with this. I'm not prepared to rush into a decision. I'm concerned though that we don't have a good enough sense of what we do with the future requests, right? We're gonna have to have, is this it? And now we say, because you guys got to us first, there will be no more? I don't know. I also would not actually do a 3-year contribution agreement because I feel like, you know, there's gonna be a new council next year, it's an election year. That should be, we shouldn't be binding into the next council, and especially not on something as you know, substantive of a policy change as this. We've never done this before. This is brand new territory, and we're getting into funding nonprofits on an ongoing basis. We had a system set up that you're allowed to do grants. This is a totally different beast. And I'm a little concerned about just based on what we already know we have to finance. So nothing against these groups and at all, but I would also, yeah, I wouldn't be for the Sioux Shop Water Council being on there anyways either, just because that went to the electorate and they decided that issue as far as I'm concerned. But you know, that aside, I think this is a very important decision. Very important.
I do agree. And I think that for me personally, I do believe that Eagle Valley Transportation Society is community. The Senior Society is key to our community. The Ferry Society, I've talked to Director Martin, and she is in favor of some EOF money going over to the Ferry Society, which makes more sense than this. Shuswap Watershed Council, $5,000. I see where we're coming from with that. Our business is water here. And I do agree that, again, you need to support the system that's going to support you. And they definitely are a vital piece of the water program and what's going on around the Shuswap. So, you know, it is tough and where we're going to find this money, but I do believe that, you know, you look at, right, the Art Council that we support and Communities in Bloom. And I agree with all of those too. But I think our seniors are really key, getting them around and taking care of them. And it's important for us as a community to support that. I feel. Bianca, go ahead.
Because in my talking to some other communities, I mean, I do want to highlight that the district already does support pretty much all these organizations in some way or the other. Eagle Valley Rescue uses our fire hall.
Mhm.
Eagle Valley Transportation has their vehicles here, connected to our hydro. Second District Seniors Center receives a full tax exemption. So, and all the seniors complexes over there do. Shuswap Watershed Council, that one we used to contribute, yes, about $20,000 through the CSRD into that. So from my discussions, some communities have made the hard decision to cut nonprofit requests altogether. And I'm getting the vibe that we don't want to do that. Maybe we do. I don't know. But I guess the question is, if we do set up a policy, do we want to do it like every year they have to reapply? Or do we want to like approve for 2026, not enter into contribution agreements and bring that to the next council to decide if they want to enter into operating agreements? One that I would say, I guess what staff would recommend when it comes to Eagle Valley Rescue Society, because that is technically a service that usually is municipal. That one I would say could kind of be broken out of this equation and separate, because it is technically a municipal service that's usually provided. And that one, staff would feel comfortable entering into a contribution agreement for that. But the rest of them, that's up to council.
Okay, Evans, Bush, Councillor Evans, Councillor Bushel, Councillor Rich and Councillor Beach.
Thank you. I kind of have a question for Councillor Rich because she's on our Shuswap Community Foundation. And my questions are, did we give money to the senior center from that foundation last year? And did we give money to EVT from that foundation? My third question is, was there a bunch of money left over? Because I remember you saying at one point that there's still money left over, and that's a question I have.
Go ahead, Councillor Rich.
Through the chair, yes, EBT got money, the seniors got money. I think we had $71,000 in requests and we had $42,000 to give out, 39, and then there's a private donation that comes through. So yes, they both did receive some money. I believe, I'm not going to pull the numbers off the top of my head, but yes, they did for sure.
Go ahead.
Follow up then. I know this is complex, but I would argue that we should think about making this a municipal responsibility to take care of over half our population, the same way we do with search and rescue, that this should be something we should consider on an ongoing basis because it's a massive part of our population and this is important.
Thanks, Bob. Councillor Bushel.
Through the chair, yeah, this is a difficult one because I recall 2.5, almost 3 terms ago, we were debating at $38,000 and now we're sitting at $152,000, which is like 3% tax increase. Well, not increase, but 3% tax. You take a look at, the tax exemptions, you take a look at it's a big picture, and everybody's worthy of it all. They all are. They all work hard. They're volunteers, half of them. Yeah, it's a really tough decision, and I think I don't know. We just need to. I mean, I know we're coming to end of a contract with Shuswap Community Foundation at the end of 2026. We, I don't know. I just really think that. Myself, I'd like to spend a little bit more time on what we give them through the 40,000 community foundation and then narrow these down. I mean, I do like to see the financial statements as well. And, just to see where we're going with it. Because they're all worthy of it. I really do think, but I remember when we didn't want to spend 38,000 and we're already at 152,000 today. So I'm a little worried about how much everybody's at, and it's not going to stop. Like you say, it'll be. We haven't even talked. I mean, I remember coming in here and pleading and they were giving me like $20,000 for the snowmobile club every year before I was a councillor, and now everybody's. I mean, we haven't even seen the snowmobile club for a couple of years. So it's a tough one. So that's where I'd like to spend a little more time on it myself, and I will.
Councillor Rich, Councillor Beach, and then Councillor Evans again. Bailey.
Yeah, I guess a comment first. I would say Eagle Valley Rescue is an essential service, right? Because that's keeping you alive, literally at that moment. And the fire hall and the police, the ambulance, and our fire can't do what they do. So if you are in an accident and we don't have them here, you have to wait for Revelstoke or Salmon Arm. So I think that's more of an essential service, not so much I think it's 2 different categories. And then my next question to Bianca is, did we not have a seniors fund? I can't remember, was it 8,000 or 4,000? But we had a specific little fund we gave last year to the senior center. I just can't remember how much it was.
Yeah. Through the chair, $4,000.
Age friendly. Okay, Councillor Beach.
Thank you, through the chair. I know this is really difficult. I am not attached to any of these ones at this point. But the Shuswap Watershed Council that I sit on behalf of the district is critical. It's absolutely critical. And I know we gave $2,000 to the Invasive Species Society last year, and I think there's some confusion. Watershed Quality Council is specific to the water. Invasive species covers every growing invasive species, plus, of course, they're concerned about aquatic invasive, but their focus is much broader. Shuswap Watershed Council has shown to be very effective at working locally. And I gave the example of the work that they've done with the farm communities in terms of helping them make sure they contain their pollutants from getting into the lake waters and streams. Our businesses, our livelihood is based on the quality of our lakes and our rivers. If we don't support a request from the Shuswap Watershed Council, and I don't care that the rest of the CSRD people voting didn't understand the importance of them, which is obviously was obvious when they didn't vote to support them, but they do really, really important work and are a really important advocacy tool. Dean and I just met with Aaron, who's their ED, Aaron Vieira, and also for the Okanagan Working Committee, James Litton. We need to keep them functioning and we need to support them. I have to speak for them.
Thanks. Councillor Evans, Councillor Bailey, then Councillor McCabe.
Okay, yeah, I get all this. I see it all. I understand how hard it is to come up with a budget and you're reliant only on your members. I know we're in some of these agreements, but my point is this: if we're gonna help people doing art, we're gonna help plant flowers, we're not gonna help seniors, then when these agreements lapse, then we say no to everybody and the members got to do the work and go out and get the donations. I just don't see any of these as more important than others, and they're all necessary and I get it, and we're trying to save tax dollars, but it's got to get to a point where it's like, okay, if we're going to be unbiased, we got to be totally unbiased and say no to everything, because we're talking about people and people are the most important thing. And so those are my thoughts. Let these agreements lapse then, and then in a couple of years go get the money. I know what you have to do that on a regular. So I'm just saying those are my thoughts, but I get what everybody's saying because I know we're trying not to raise our taxes another %. I get that.
Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, there's some assumption here that we will get money from CSRD. If we don't, it's about 1% tax increase or 0.9. So, 0.44 is best case scenario. I hear saying yes a lot today, not a lot no. I don't see how we're trying to lower the tax burden at this point. That's kind of why I'm sitting here. I definitely will not support the Shuswap Watershed Council. Has nothing to do with its mandate, Pam. I believe in democracy. People had a vote. They voted no, and they voted overwhelmingly no. And I'm going to respect that. If they wanted it funded, they would have voted yes. They didn't. It wasn't even close. So I'm not going to take taxpayers' money, and I won't be voting for it and doing it that way. We are funding an organization that had a chance to present its case to the voters. The voters, for whatever reason, you can say they're wrong. I don't think they are. They considered it. They said no. Other organizations look after our water as well. It's not just the Shuswap Water Council. So, that's my position on that. But the issue, if we're going to do this, then we need to do an open call. I think this is not fair. If we're just like, hey, these ones kind of know that we might do this, but we don't offer it to anybody else. So if we're going to do an intake for ongoing funding, well, let's tell people that. and see what we get. There's other groups that will come forward for sure. If they know council is going to start doing and there are other nonprofits that contribute a lot to this community as well and to our surrounding area. We've had this conversation before, and I think, if we're going to do the ongoing funding and we're really serious about it, we've got to open it up and say, here are the rules, here's what we're going to consider, and then consider it as a package for council. But I don't think we can just say, hey, these are the ones that kind of know, so they're here first, but anybody else, forget it, right? I don't think that's a fair process either, right? And that's what's basically happening here, is because these folks know previously we've had this conversation, but others don't. So, and then we'd have to have an idea of how are we going to deal with this long term? Because one thing that is absolutely for certain, once this becomes part of their operational funding, they will rely on it, and because it'll become a critical point of how they operate and how they move forward as an organization. I just think it's really, I would like to say yes, absolutely. Here's all the money, and you do great work. But also, I don't think I'd be doing my job, because it is kind of about choices here and about resources. And I really feel that we're not taking a big picture look at all the demand for our resources right now. And I think we don't have a clear idea really of all the demand, but we know it's there. And we know it's big implications to the taxpayers. And that's what I'm concerned about, because we can help these other groups and we could really hurt our taxpayers with a big tax increase. And I don't want to do that.
Thank you. Councillor McCabe, Beach, and then Rich.
Yeah, I guess I'm speaking on behalf of Eagle Valley Transportation. It's a small organization. There's only 3 board members, my 2 daughters and myself. This year, we applied for funding for a gaming grant, but we're not eligible because we're family members on the board. We would have to change the board, and that would take a whole year, and you have to get different board members. And that's just one of the hurdles. Our only resource is asking the district for some money, some operating funds. The district the district of Sicamous is a designated age-friendly community. That's a provincial designation that we have, and we have some obligations on an annual basis to take steps to keep that designation. And we have a large portion of our population are seniors, 55 plus, 55% or more. And so really, Eagle Valley Transportation is just helping the district of Sicamous meet their strategic priority, which is listed in a strategic priority for seniors to age in place. And the one single best way to age in place is have access to healthcare, urban healthcare from a rural setting, and that's what Eagle Valley Transportation does. This year, to keep our organization, our society going, I put $2,000 of my own money in there towards vehicle insurance. My daughter's put in $800 of her own money. We're not a big organization, but we do a huge impact for our community, and I'm really counting on the district for some support here, or we're actually going to have to fold. And that's not blackmail. That's just the reality.
Thanks, Councillor McCabe. Councillor Beach, then Councillor Rich.
To the chair. I'm pretty amazed that you wouldn't even be willing to consider supporting somebody who focuses on our lake water quality and streams. The invasive species part of this is very big. We've added another muscle. There has to be a specific voice and piece of work. And I get what you're saying, Ian, that the CSRD electorate didn't seem to understand
There's also sycamores.
the import. Well, yeah. But why not? Our livelihood is the lake.
Okay.
They are in a position to advocate for the water quality specifically. And the fact that we can sit here and some of us don't seem to understand the value of the water to this community's livelihood, that we would support a group like this, maybe not $5,000, but we paid them 500 in the past. I'm gobsmacked.
Thank you, Counselor Beach. And I hear where you're coming from as well. And the Shuswap Watershed Council does advocate for prevention of mussels, but so does this council. And I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. We write as many letters probably as the Shuswap Water Council does, if not more. And we have literally sat in those meetings as well. I'm not saying take it out. I'm just saying we all contribute to this as well, is all I'm saying. So before we can
Quickly.
take quick and then
I just want to respond to that. No, because I think you kind of said that I didn't care about our water. Oh, no, I really do. I care about it. It's deeply important to sycamores. I think where I disagree with you fundamentally, Pam, is that you're just assuming that Shuswap Water Council is the only one that does it. And it's not. And my position on that is there was a vote, and whether we like it or not, democracy is how we settle things. And this issue was settled in funding by the voters and by everybody in Sycamores had a chance.
Councillor Rich, and just with being the time, I will have to leave at 10 to 3. So someone will have to take over chairing if
15 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough.
At that point in time. Councillor Rich.
Through the chair. I think the other thing we have to really consider here is we're making these decisions without seeing anybody's financials. We don't know where else they're getting money from. We're not even giving everybody that would maybe want us to make these decisions a chance to speak. We're looking at some requests and we know nothing about all the other incomes or outgoing dollars. So it's a lot of money just to say, with a wave of a wand, hand out this kind of money without actually taking a look at each organization.
Good point. Bianca?
I can tell that we're not gonna come to a consensus today. That's okay. So what I'm hearing, so would it be beneficial for the current requests? I will reach out to all of them and get some financial information brought back. More of a formal request where exactly the funds are going. Some of the requests already kind of have that, but I'll get them together and make kind of a package for all of council, kind of like they do for community grants. I might also include Communities in Bloom, reach out to Deb and see what her plans are for 2026 there. And then we can really, and also we didn't enter into an agreement with CSIS. So all of these will be on the table for council to review. The only one that I think I have support to pull out of there, Eagle Valley Rescue Society, if council's okay for me to start getting a 3-year contribution agreement done up and also work with Rona to see what she's comfortable with too, to make sure that organization keeps flowing.
Great.
If that sounds okay, I can, yeah.
Yeah, I think we got some nods going on.
It is something that we would cover. And yeah, I agree with that.
We
should be covered. Yeah.
Okay. So just,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you do that? Bring it back. Cause we're just talking, everyone's a bit emotional.
This informal.
Yes. Okay. All right.
We have that other resolution.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
Oh, here, let me move on. That would be my cue. Pauline. Okay, so, we're gonna go into public input. Is this after that? Or should this letter be up before we go public input?
It's a letter to council,
So I don't need to, okay,
call the correspondence.
okay. Okay, so you're asking, yeah, okay. So we'll do 15 minutes of public input if,
Are we talking about the letter or after the public input?
the letter's just for consideration for us to read. Is that correct?
If you would like to discuss the letter, you're more.
And let's do that, please, before public input.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly, again, I think as a taxpayer, and it's not the only one I've heard from with a very large tax burden. And, you know, I don't think businesses in Sycamore are doing as well this year as they did last. There's a lot more pricing pressure. I see it in my business that, and I think others do too. Wages are up, prices are up, people are up right across the board. And I don't have a solution to this, but I don't think we should also ignore what the message is here. And the message is that taxes are, it's hard. It's hard for businesses to do it. And certainly commercial rates are higher than others. This is for a reason. Generally it was because we felt that commercial enterprises were money making and they could afford a little bit more, which is fine. But this is why I'm trying to impress upon everybody about tough choices, because if we keep raising taxes beyond where inflation is, this burdens our businesses as well. It puts Sycamoose in a disadvantage situation, and we have to be cognizant of it. I don't know how we will have to, it requires some tough choices. And that's, I guess, why we're here. Unfortunately, we can't say yes to everybody. And yeah, I'd like to lower their taxes, but that's simply not on the board this year where we could even do that. But I think the message there is something that we need to hear. And I've heard it from a lot of taxpayers in Sycamore. So I'm cognizant of this and I appreciate them writing to us.
Thanks, Bianca, then Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, I just want to note too, just on the letter, because it suggests like moving more to industrial. We only have four total properties that are classified as residential. 4. And they're all employers in town, so really there's not much of an option there. There's only one major one of the 4. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up.
Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair, that's a tough one because their industrial is so small. I mean, I thought there was more. But anyways, I remember years ago we did redistribute our percentages, and we weren't capitalizing on the utility group, which was I think CP Rail and Hydro, or I can't remember what that classification was, and we maxed out them and we brought down business a little bit, but it did, and industrial did, but it didn't make a big dent in it. And there's nothing we can really do to swap it, to the industrial, because there's so many more commercial businesses than there is industrial. But I think they do warrant a response. So we should just, let them know how many industrial properties there are, and just let them know it's just not feasible to do it that way. And then the only other place it can go is back to residential.
Yeah.
Which we're trying to. Yeah. Okay, so
Just a comment for your comment, Councillor Bushel. So this is a letter that's just being received as input. It's not something that the district would respond to. So the anticipation is not that we provide a response to it, that you've received it with the input. Your discussion today satisfies the request of the letter writer.
Councillor Bushel.
So would somebody pick up the phone and call them and just explain it to them, or should we? I know we're just asking to go back and listen to the recording.
Correct. Yeah, I just,
It's unfortunate, but yeah, you're absolutely right. We did max out our utilities to bring all of that stuff down, and we are guarding. Right now, our residents are, in the same situation, so I understand. It's a really tough situation to be in, sitting here right now during financials and trying to be fair and equitable to everyone and make it all work. So it's complicated. Okay, so we are going to move on. Public input. Is there anyone online with their hand up?
It's not.
There is not. Okay, so that closes, we are going to now then move in camera. Okay, recommendation that the Select Finance Committee exercise its authority under the community charter and move in camera under sections 91C and 91L. Did I get a mover? Counselor Evans, Counselor Bushel, all in favor. Okay, we are going in camera.
I take it.